What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. As always, we're talking the brand new movie or show on Netflix, and today's movie is called Brazen. We're going to talk about it. If you guys enjoy this review, let me know down below by dropping your thumbs up or leaving a comment. What is the worst movie of the year? It's January, so not a lot of choices. So, prominent mystery writer and crime expert Grace hurries back to her family home in Washington, D.C. because her estranged sister summons her. When her sister is killed and her double life as a webcam performer is revealed, Grace ignores the warnings of cool-headed detective Ed and gets involved in the case. This is based on the novel Brazen Virtue by Nora Roberts. Let's start here. I'm unfamiliar with the novel, so execution's a big deal when you look at a premise like this because the premise is interesting and the book may tackle that in a different way to where it works and there is quality there. This film being different, obviously. Alyssa Milano is someone that he was kind of excited to see. You know, it's been a bit, and the idea of this playing out in a way that keeps you on the edge of your seat, the intensity is there, and it could have you guessing along the way as to who the killer actually is. I looked at this movie and said, you know what, it could be better than I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't. It was actually significantly worse. Now, I don't get joy from sitting here and telling you guys how much I did not enjoy this movie. So let's start with some of the positives. And the positives come within the premise. Like I said, there is a lot that could come from the idea of these murders continuing to happen with these webcam performers. And the emotion that comes from her sister dying, that's something that had me intrigued when I read this summary. So I said, you know what? I'm hoping the intensity is there. And other than some terrible dialogue, which we'll talk about, that's my big fault with this movie, is the fact that I was never on the edge of my seat. I was never guessing as to what's going to happen next. And the biggest issue with that is the killer, you know, the reason why this movie's made in the first place, everything surrounding that killer, the obviousness that comes from the movie pointing to one particular person saying, here you go. In the movie, it's throwing other suspects at us. It's like, hey, it could be this guy or this person, but at the end of the day, it never fully commits to anyone except, and I'm trying not to give spoilers away, but if you've seen a movie before in this genre, you're going to watch this and say, oh, that's who it is, as soon as they are introduced. And that was a massive, massive flaw with this film because it keeps you from really enjoying it at the end of the day. But another thing that keeps you from enjoying it is the dialogue and the delivery. And I have nothing against Alyssa Milano, but her character at times, it felt there was a struggle there when it came to giving the proper emotions and creating for unnatural feeling and sounding interactions between characters. They'll feel so not confident when delivering a line that requires confidence. And it's not just her. When trying to get the audience to feel the emotion that you're supposed to feel in that moment, it's just, it feels awkward and staged. It's almost like the actors didn't want to be there. And I've heard some comparisons to like the Hallmark channel and that kind of film. And I have reviewed Hallmark movies. I have a friend who does a podcast on Hallmark films. This is a disservice to the Hallmark stigma on movies because sometimes they can be fun and enjoyable, and I believe this director has even had a hand at shows in that category that were much better than this film. So it's all coming together in a way that's confusing because it had the potential to be so much better than it was, or at least it had the potential to be kind of bad. I mean, this movie is beyond that. It's just the lines. Keep writing, Grace Miller. Oh, I couldn't stop if I tried. Trouble always finds you, detective. There's no intensity in this murder mystery. That's not something that should be said out loud. The emotions just, they're not there. The romances within this movie, one in particular, there is almost zero chemistry between the two characters. And a movie like this that knows it's bad and it's trying to lean into the ridiculousness, that's one thing. But this film, it doesn't really know how bad it's coming across, so it doesn't lean into that. It's trying to play it serious. It reminds me of Deadly Illusions last year. So as you're predicting what's happening next and you're sitting there kind of feeling a little bit because of the dialogue, the film is playing it as straight as possible, like, we are actors. And that creates conflict, which creates a bad movie. Like I said, the storyline has potential. I could see how the novel is much better. The dominatrix story happening in the background is something that could have had so much come from it, and the emotion could have been there with the death of her sister. Unfortunately, all of that was lacking, and the final product is just this disjointed tonal mess that plays it way too bright, even visually too bright, when it's such a dark story at its core. So we could have had some filmmaking techniques there, but no, it comes across as simple as possible. Before I give you guys my score, again, I don't normally like being this negative, but I have to be honest with you guys and tell you that I don't think this is worth watching. But if you like this review, drop your thumbs up down below. This will inevitably go down as one of the bigger missed opportunities on Netflix. There is potential in this story, but the execution makes for a complete tonal misfire. My score is a 14%, unfortunately. Austin, that is so random. How did you come up with that? Well, a little bit of insight into the way I come up with my score. Acting, 2 out of 10. Direction, 2 out of 10. Story, 4 out of 10. Pacing, 2 out of 10. Visuals, 2 out of 10. Target audience, 2 out of 10. Resonate, 0 out of 10. And then entertainment or emotional value, 0 out of 30. That's how I came up with that random score, just giving you guys that information. That's my system. But I appreciate you guys so much for watching this video, and let me know, did you enjoy this movie? And if you did, if you disagree, that is absolutely okay. Is the book better? That's my question. I'll see you soon.